Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, September the 26th. It's 9 a.m. We're in the central jury room of the Ralph H. Walton Jr. Justice Center at 1200 West Pearl Street in Granbury, Texas. Today is a regular meeting of the Commissioners Court. We are proud to have with us today James Long, who is the president of the Gideon's International Bible Deal. So if you ever wondered who puts all those Bibles in your hotel or motel room here, this is the guy right here that does all of it. So right here, he's a good guy. So welcome, Dr. Long here.
Please pray with me this morning. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning. Father, we give you thanks for all that you've given us. We thank you for our country. We thank you for our state. We thank you for Hood County. We pray, God, that you would continue to let us be free and pray without fear. Lord, we ask you this morning that you would let your Holy Spirit guide us today. Bless each of the commissioners that they serve, each individual in our county. We pray for wisdom, understanding, and courage to make the decisions that are in the best interest of all the residents of our Hood County and our surrounding areas. Lord, as we face the issues of our world today, we pray, Lord, that you would just let us turn back to you in all things that we do. And when this life is finished on earth, that you would welcome us home to be with you in heaven. These things I pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now our pledge to the great state of Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay. The next item is the special presentations, and we have some proclamations here today, and the first one is the proclamation declaring October Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Is there anybody here from that organization? And I see, yep, would y'all come up here and let me see here. We're running a little bit behind here. We're going to want to sign all of these for y'all. Oh my God. Yeah, you didn't tell me you were bringing her with her up here, so. Let me go ahead and pass these to let all the commissioners do it, so we're going to do that. Is that your spokesperson here? Is she going to read it? Who's going to read the proclamation? Do one of you want to read it?
I can read it, that's okay.
Good, but we're going to let you come up here, and I'm going to turn that mic around for you after everybody will have signed these. This is hold up here, and then we're going to take a big picture. You got all your warrants picked up on you so that we can take a picture. Nobody will be out to get you, will they? Okay, I'm going to get that. So when you get it, I'd like for you to read it to that so everybody can hear it. How about that? This is a good organization. Y'all put up the stuff, right? It's very good.
Not yet, we're asking permission to do that today,
Yes.
later on.
If anybody's against opposing, y'all putting up something to oppose domestic violence, I want them to raise your hand up here. We're going to take your picture and it'll be in the Hood County News. This is the one that y'all get to keep and sign. Commissioner Wilson is out today, but if you want to read that, how about that?
Okay, and I'm going to do my best because I do not have my glasses on. Okay, so to designate October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that touches all communities regardless of age, race, disability, gender, identity, or socioeconomic status. And whereas the Hood County Commissioners Court recognizes and participates in a public awareness campaign to support National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for citizens to learn more about preventing domestic violence and to show support for the organizations and individuals who provide critical advocacy services and assistance to victims. And whereas, on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States, which equates to more than 10 million people who experience domestic violence annually. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience severe intimate partner violence, sometimes in their lifetime. And whereas on a typical day, there are more than 20,000 phone calls to domestic violence hotlines nationwide. Mission Granbury received and responded to 944 hotline calls last year. The need for safe housing continues to be rated as survivors' most urgent need. And whereas Mission Granbury provides a safe haven shelter for women and children who are victims of domestic violence. Mission Granbury's Ada Carey Shelter provided shelter and other services to 139 women, 11 men, and 109 children last year. And whereas preventing domestic violence means changing the social norms that allow and condone violence and requires the collective voice and power of individuals, families, institutions, and systems, each wholeheartedly committed to transforming our community. Now, therefore, in recognition of the important work done by survivors, domestic violence programs, and victim service providers, the Hood County Commissioners Court does hereby claim October 2023 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month and urges all Hood County residents to become involved in efforts to prevent and respond to domestic violence and recognize the impact it has on our community.
There you go. All right. Stay. Good job. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. The next item of special presentation is a presentation to recognize all employees who participated in the conversion to Tyler Technologies. So I guess you want to talk about that, Commissioner Samuelson?
Do you have the certificate? Yes, he's passing it. So this is, over the last, and before I took office, I know there's been a lot of county employees, whether they were an SME or covering for other employees as they were SMEs, converting, as many of you know, if you've ever been through a system conversion, know that it takes a lot of effort, a lot of dedication, and a lot of teamwork among all the employees that are, whether they're involved or covering for an employee that is involved or using the system or going through training. It's a big team effort. And over this past weekend, we finished what is mostly the entire conversion. It was in phases, and this was one of the last phases. So what the certificate says, and I wish everyone who was involved or helped or went through training or did anything related to it to come on up, and we can get a big group picture. It says, "We, the undersigned, on behalf first for outstanding dedication, teamwork, and commitment to the implementation of the Tyler software system, we, the undersigned, on behalf of Hood County, recognize you for your outstanding contribution during the implementation. Your hard work and willingness to go above and beyond to ensure the implementation was seamless and is very much appreciated. Your efforts contributed to empowering Hood County to deliver better and faster assistance to the public, along with greater transparency and accessibility and faster results. So, let's come on up. Oh, yes, I guess I need to sign too.
Yes.
I know there's a lot more people in the county that contributed to this implementation. They weren't able, they're working, they're doing their job, so I just want to congratulate everyone and thank you so much for your hard work and dedication and getting us over. I know there was a lot of obstacles in the way and y'all worked together to get through it, and just very much appreciate it. One more thing. I think Mr. Andrews has an announcement.
Oh, you're going to put this on me. Okay. Good. We will, in celebration of completing the conversion there, we were going to do a pizza party for all the departments that are involved this coming Thursday, right here, on the Commissioners. So, pizza party for the conversion people right here. All right. Yeah.
In the pizza, so it's a mass celebration for everyone that was involved, everyone who helped. Here.
Yep.
So thank you all.
Okay.
Thursday.
The next item are the service awards. So the first service award is Colin Purin. Purin?
Congratulations, you've been here for 5 years. It's great to have people that got some longevity to us, and we work night shifts, so we usually sleep about now. You know, hold things together in dispatch, so thank you for all you do.
Good. Next is Roger Russell. 5 years. You told me it was 50 years, Russell, or is it just felt like 50? Felt like 50, okay, all right.
Please show your 5 years of service with Hood County Environmental Health.
Next is Stephanie Weatherford, 5 years.
Thank you for your service. Having started out at animal control and transferred over to dispatch, and does a fantastic job there, keeping things running smooth.
Great. Next is Stephen Sexton. Ten years. Stephen Sexton, I guess he's still working. That's why he's been there. Okay. Next is Jennifer Lozano. "15 years. Yeah.
That's one of those jobs where, like you said before, there's a 5 or 50, well, 15 is really about 100 years, so. Lieutenant Lozano has been through a lot of stuff in the jail and has done a great job for us, and even with all she's been through, great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the special service awards then. The next item are the citizens' comments at large, or what is called the open mic. And you must have signed a participation form if you're going to speak on this or any agenda item. So if you're going to speak on any agenda item, you must fill out the form and hand it to the sheriff, and the sheriff will hand it to Ms. Lang, and Ms. Lang will number it, hand it to me. So it must be done prior to the agenda item being called. So the first person, the speaker that signed up is Tina Brown.
Good morning. Is this on? Yeah.
Yes,
Good morning.
it is.
I want to say thank you to all the people who did participate in the Tyler conversion. This is great. It's been, 2 years in the running. I'm a little concerned about some of the buzzwords you use: teamwork, commitment, above and beyond, seamless. This happened, those words do cover most of the people that did this, but not some of the departments. We had 2 departments that drug this out, did not want to participate in any of this, and cost this county $400,000 in taxpayer money. And that seems to be the only people that showed up today, most of the people. So did you contact, well, I know you can't answer, but I just wonder if everybody was contacted to come and be a part of this? The other thing I wanted to say is, now that the budget is over, are we going to talk about the ARPA money? As far as I know, that no ARPA money has been given out this calendar year. I believe that we figured out how to do an application. Those applications come in and are given to you. So when are we, I'm just wondering when we're going to see that on the agenda.
That's coming up. We're not supposed to respond, but
I know.
that's coming up.
It's
We
just
got
something-
applications, and it's coming up, and it will be announced.
Okay, it's been, this is September, almost October, and we haven't given any of that money out. And I just wanted to refresh your memory that I'm still wondering what we're going to do with that money, instead of just sitting on it. Thank you.
Okay. Next is Elizabeth Mercer.
Before I begin, I owe the court at large an apology because at the very last Commissioners Court meeting, I was raucous from the gallery, so my apologies for that, because I have a reason which I will address later, but it is really, there is no excuse. So, here's the first thing I want to talk about, which is the Upper Trinity Groundwater Board, and here is why. At the last meeting, we had presentations from the Upper Trinity Groundwater Board, and now we are going to be in league with them. They are going to work with developers and builders, and my understanding is that we have one specific county commissioner at least, and that's you, Mr. Eagle, who are going to work in tandem with them, and this is a concern for me, and here is why. There is a vast amount of information that does not appear to be shared with the county at large. The very first one is that we are in definitive trouble in Texas. They are absolutely predicting prolonged droughts. We have got groundwater shortages, and we do not have anyone in place who is actually willing to be responsible for the developers and the builders. And you are threatening our water supply. More importantly, for people like me who live out, and I've lived out for 38 years, and I've been on a well for 38 years. You are threatening our lifestyles. And it is a concern to me because the people who are doing so don't live out. Now, perhaps you have at some point in your life, but my understanding is you all live inside communities, even if they're unincorporated. Because, Kevin, I think you're from Haltom City, and you live in the city, in La Pan, even if it's small, it's a city. So you have city water. And that you and I have actually had a conversation where our trajectory hasn't been dissimilar. You went from Fort Worth to Weatherford, and now you live in a gated community. So, Mr. Eagle, you live in a community. And I'm not going to insult you by questioning that. I'm going to say that you live in an unincorporated community, and my assumption is you're not on a well. So you don't really understand our concerns. And every single thing that I have learned about the Upper Trinity Groundwater Board is now at risk, because I'm just going to say to you that the machinery you pulled by pulling Bob Lusk on that board have led me to have a complete lack of trust, not just in their credibility, but in yours. For instance, you did not even know that the 3-lake issue that Mr. Luck proposed to deal with our groundwater issues, each one of those lakes will cost $1 billion each. That's billion with a B. The state of Texas has not issued state funds for that. You talked a lot about Weatherford. Well, do you know that in western Parker County, because they have overbuilt, the aquifer was at MAG this year. We already in Weatherford, they're doing things that are beyond what one would think to provide water. They're actually reusing some of their water because they're so overpopulated. In my community, there are 3 different subdivisions going in, and not only did you remove the only person who understood that a floor of 5 acres was in the best interest of people like me, you replaced it with someone who actually said to a citizen that they did not know that there needed to be adequate space between a septic system and a well. You're asking me to trust you with my life, and I would like to be able to do that. But based on the unethical actions that this Commissioner's Court took, I can't. And I don't know anyone else who really does either. So if you're going forward with this, my deepest hope is that you would work on those trust issues, because we deserve that. Your constituents elect you, it's true. But we pay you. From the least to the highest, we pay you. You cash county checks. You don't cash constituent checks. So if you're going to go forward with this, I deeply hope that you work on the trust that you have destroyed by your political maneuvers. And I also hope that you inform yourselves, because if I can do it, you can too. Thank you.
Okay. Next is Brad Yarborough.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I want to congratulate y'all on finally passing a budget. That was a huge thing, and the tax rate. So congratulations on doing that. But when doing that, I learned some things that were kind of alarming to me, and it concerns 2 commissioners. One was Ms. Samuelson. I'm sorry. You said that you went to 2 different auditors other than Becky to have them check her work, which kind of concerns me, because now you're showing our budget to other other communities, and we've already had a problem with them stealing some of our employees in the sheriff's office and other offices, the DA and all that. So sharing that information kind of alarms me. I don't think that was necessary, because Becky's done an excellent job for the last 20 years or however long you've been here. I'm sorry, Becky. 25 years. So she's done an excellent job. So sharing that information and having them check her work kind of that's degrading to her. It's a slap in the face on a person who's done this year in and year out. And another thing that happened is you said you went to other commissioners in other counties, again, showing them our budget, showing them what we're doing. This sets another alarm off because now you're showing them everything so they can steal more employees. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we met that threshold that the people will want to stay here. And then when we ask you who'd you talk to, and you always say you're transparent, you refuse to tell us. And that's kind of alarming to me too. And the next thing that I learned was that Commissioner Eagle doesn't partake in any of this. He doesn't vote for it. He doesn't do anything. And that's your most important thing is the county budget. This is how the police officers get their, or I'm sorry, the sheriff's department make their money. This is how they get paid. This is how the county gets paid. And you need to do your job. That's your biggest job. And so, and over the last 3 days, I also learned that you and Nate Criswell have been in your office working on something. I don't understand why he's in your office so much. He's not an elected official. I don't know what you're working on, but the last time he was there, the county received a bunch of anonymous letters. So I'm wondering if we're going to have the same bunch of anonymous letters come through and all that. One last thing I want to bring up is in your, Biggers is always saying stay in your lane. You went to the school board meeting, and I brought it up last time, and you said that Karen Lowry should molest kids because she would get away with that, or easier to get away with that than doing the book thing. Even if it was a joke, you shouldn't be talking about molesting children, and I'm going to keep bringing that up until you do a public apology. Hopefully the lady and the gentleman that heard you, I've been talking with them, they're too busy, but they're going to come up and speak about that too in upcoming Commissioners Court. Again, I'm going to keep bringing it up until you issue an apology.
Mr. Yarborough, let me stop you here. We have got to get control of this
You're
thing.
out of order. You're out of order.
Our rules say.
You're out of order.
Our rules say
You're
a
out of
couple of
order.
things.
You're not
One,
supposed to
it has to
comment
be
and
about county business.
Excuse me,
and
Judge,
this
you
is not-
You're out
replied.
of order, Mr.
Well,
Andrews.
That is county business. You got no
You're out of
county
order.
This happened at a school board meeting, and it's not.
by a county official, a commissioner.
We have these rules. We have to get
I understand. We're
control
going to talk
of this
about those
thing.
rules later because
These
he wants to
rules
bring
are-
that up, and I'll definitely speak about that again. But to have someone to talk about, even if it's a joke, molesting children, there needs to be an apology.
It is not the intention of this court to allow any member of the public to
I'll stop
insult
there.
the
Thank
honesty
you for
or
your time.
integrity of this court.
Okay. The next speaker is Howard Granick. Mr. Granick, Dr. Granick, you pass? The next speaker is Katie Lang.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. The only thing I have to say is that Tina Brown keeps bringing up $400,000. I continue to ask people that come up, the citizens, and come up and speak, to bring facts and figures. She has never done so. She's just pulling this figure out of the air. Tyler did not cost $400,000 to change. So I don't know where she's getting her facts from, but if she could do some research and actually bring facts to this microphone, that would really be appreciated. Elizabeth Mercer has...
Ms. Lang, I'm sorry. Let me stop you there. I think that we need to go all the way across the board with all of this stuff. We don't need to be bringing up individuals' names. If you want to say...
Well, she came up and spoke.
No, I understand completely. And if you want to dispute
Mr.
a fact,
Andrews,
I
I've
think that
conducted this
disputing a
meeting.
fact-
You're out
Judge,
of order. You're not supposed to respond at open
Judge,
mic, period.
we have rules over here that you refuse to enforce, and this has
I'm not
turned
refusing
into-
to enforce any rules. In my opinion, she's not impugning any integrity. She's stating what her facts are is what she says. It's not impugning anybody. She's entitled to her opinion. This is open mic. Nobody has a right to question that. So,
Actually,
you're out of
we have-
order.
Judge, we have rules.
You're out of
over here
order.
That say that these things need to be, one, specifically exactly about county business.
I was talking about Tyler and the price
No,
of
no,
Tyler.
and I understand that.
And the
if
comments that
you-
she said were false.
See, hear this,
And
it's
I
totally
understand
out of
that. And if
control. This
you
is
want
what
to-
happens. You're out of order.
Judge.
Miss Commissioner Andrews, you're out of order. Let her say her piece. Please continue.
Thank you. So I was pretty much done with that subject. I wanted to talk about trust issues. And it's really hard to have trust when you keep getting divisive comments. You know, there's 4 people here that keep coming up, Commissioners Court after Commissioners Court after Commissioners Court, with no proof but accusations, and it's really hard to trust what they say because their integrity has, you know, been observed, and don't really think that they have much. When they keep coming up and they say they're going to come up court after court after court and keep hammering their one issue. So, and as far as the budget, it's public information. The lack of research and, I guess, ignorance is the word, that if you're ignorant to the fact that the budget is public information, last year's budget and this year's proposed budgets, you know, being shared with other people outside the county is really a type of research. It's not anything, it's more integrity than anything. It's trying to find out the truth. It's trying to find out what other people are doing to come up with a better way. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Next speaker is Mark Lowry.
Good morning, Judge. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Commissioners, Madam Commissioner, it's nice to be able to say that.
Speaking of microphone, I don't think it's turned on.
I'm sure it's turned on. So, Judge, thank you for allowing 5 minutes. Man, that's kind of an anomaly. We're getting 1 minute now for public speaking at the school board, but that's neither subject. I just want to thank you for the 5 minutes. I'm actually here to speak for some of the county employees, the district attorney and the sheriff. As I look here on these item C, the sheriff is requesting increase in supplies, decrease in vet services, increase in investigations, decrease in vehicle maintenance. The district attorney is asking for a $700 transfer of funds. The question I have is, to them gentlemen, I guess, is how long does it take that to get done? I was in a government agency. I managed a pretty significant budget, and I had the flexibility of moving some monies around. It just seems for the efficiencies of these good people that are managing these departments for you, like the district attorney and like the sheriff and others, that they should have the flexibility to move $700 from one program area to another program area so the efficiency of a government can move forward. Oftentimes when I come, I see a lot of this, and I'm wondering, like here, environmental, $40, how long does it take them to get that on the agenda and get the court to approve that transfer? If it's slowing down their government operations, maybe there can be a consideration of allowing them to move certain funds from one program area to another program area, even if you do a quarterly audit or a semi-audit or something. I just hope that it's not slowing down the operations of government for the district attorney and certainly for the sheriff. When he predicts maintenance fees and all those fees for his operations, he has to do that before a budget submission, and then he's got to operate the rest of the year. But if he has to come and wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to get this approved, to get it transferred of $700 or $1,000, just seems like there might be a more efficient way to do it. I'm not complaining. I'm just asking maybe there's a more efficient way to do that. I want to thank, again, the court so much. I'm going to step down now with more minutes now than I ever get. So thank you for allowing the public to speak. thank you for allowing them to have time to get a thought together, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing, and it's a little back and forth. We got to work through this in all of our government courts, whether it's here or the school district. We got to put that stuff behind us. Thank you, lady and gentlemen.
Okay, that concludes the open mic. And now we're into miscellaneous, Roman numeral number 7. The first item is to discuss and take appropriate action to recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month by allowing Mission Granbury to display wooden purple ribbons and a, quote, light in the window, end quote, display for the month of October, as well as utilizing the gazebo lawn for a light the night ceremony on Saturday, October the 21st, 2023, from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. I brought this up. This is something that we've allowed every year to do. I think it's a very important consideration. I love the 3 women that came up here and brought that and read the nice proclamation. It's something that domestic violence is on everybody's mind. We lose a lot of people to that, a lot of innocent children and everybody else. So if anybody have anything they would like to say regarding item number 1?
I just want to show what the light in the window thing is. So as we just proclaimed, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we just ask everybody to put a purple light in the window or a purple light in their porch light to spread domestic violence awareness. And on the square, we would put like a little built window with a purple light just to spread awareness. And then the light the night on the gazebo lawn is to honor the domestic violence victims of Texas that lost their lives in 2022 and to honor the survivors as well.
Great. Perfect.
Thank you.
Hold them up, Sue.
Is that better, Jean? Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
So Mrs. Granbury there can take a photograph. Okay. Thank y'all very much.
I'll make the motion to recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month by allowing Mission Granbury to display wooden purple ribbons and the light in the window display for the month of October, as well as utilizing the gazebo lawn for the light the night ceremony on October 21st, 2023, from 7 to 8:30 p.m.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion been made by Commissioner Samuelson to allow Mission Granbury to display wooden purple ribbons and a light in the window display for the month of October, as well as utilizing the gazebo lawn for a light in the night ceremony on Saturday, October the 21st, 2023, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. with setup at 6:15, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye and raise your hand. Okay, okay, passes unanimously 4-0. Okay, thank you. All right, the next item, number 2, is thank you for coming, Miss Bondi. Now get back to work. Okay, thank you, ladies. Item number 2, consider and take appropriate action to allow the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners the use of the north parking lot of Annex 1 and the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners Demonstration Garden on October the 7th, 2023, during the annual Romancing the Monarch Festival. It looks like we got some good speakers down there. Are you speaking on that, Warner? Both of you are? Come on up. Tell us about this. This is a worthwhile project. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Denise Mayberry. I'm one of the master gardeners, and we work really hard. We have around 80 people, and we had 20 interns this last year that are getting certified really soon. But our biggest festival is our Romancing the Monarch Festival. It's October 7th from 1:30 until 4. And it's wonderful. We're going to release up to probably around 200 monarch butterflies. And what we do is we have one release at 2 o'clock and one at 3 o'clock. and we have children that will show on how to release them out of the envelopes. They're quite pricey, so we try to be real careful with that. We're going to have a ton of children activities, face painting, crafts. They're going to be painting rocks. They're going to be wandering all around the demo garden, which is starting to look pretty after the terrible drought we had. We just want to invite the whole community, and we would love if y'all would approve it. We can use the parking lot to just have it full. We had close to 500 people last year.
Good. I think it's very beautiful. Y'all do a good job. Warner, you want to add anything?
And this is a free educational event, so everybody's welcome.
Good deal. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make a motion to allow the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners the use of the north parking lot of Annex 1 and the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners Demonstration Garden on October 7th for the Romancing the Monarch Festival.
Second. Okay, a motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to allow the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners the use of the north parking lot of Annex 1 and Lake Granbury Master Gardeners Demonstration Garden on October the 7th during the annual Romancing the Monarch Festival, second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye and raise your right hand. Aye. Carries unanimously. Have a wonderful deal. We look forward to it. Thank y'all both very much. Okay. All right, item number 3, discuss and take appropriate action to upgrade 7 radios, 1 portable radio, 1 dispatch unit for Pecan Plantation Voluntary Fire Department and EMS through Self Radio, Inc., as well as base stations for Hood County Volunteer Fire Department through L3 Harris to enable interoperability with the new trunking system at a cost not to exceed $43,000. The attached quotes from Self Radio and L3 Harris show the detail of the cost. The cost is to be funded from the Small Equipment Fund 55. Field Marshal Jeff Young.
I love that I get a new title every time I come up here. That's awesome. I didn't put this on the agenda, but I didn't see anybody else pop up, so I figured I'd come up and help answer any questions. I think basically what this is now that we have this new radio system in place, there were some small oversights. This one being that none of the fire stations themselves, we put radios in all the vehicles, but none of the fire stations themselves have a way to communicate. So there are times with us being in a volunteer environment that we will have 5, 6, 7 people on standby at the station that we may not necessarily need them in the initial response, but may need them later down the road. If they're not able to hear that radio traffic, they may not know that we're needing them to respond. And the other one is for the hospital so that the ambulances can call in their patient reports en route to the hospital. So I think that's kind of what this comes down to, is being able to enable the stations to communicate to the field.
Okay. I think we got to have this.
I agree.
It's something that all the fire departments have got to talk to one another in order to do this. I think anything with dealing with radios are pretty pricey, so I don't see Ms. Kidd here, but I'm sure that she's got the money in Fund 55 then to do it. So I make the motion that we take the action to go ahead and upgrade the 7 radios, the 1 portable radio, the 1 dispatch unit for Pecan Plantation Voluntary Fire Department and EMS through Self Radio, Inc., as well as 8 base stations for Hood County, and to enable the interoperability with the new trunking system at a cost not to exceed $43,000. And the attached quotes are there. And Ms. Kidd, I'm assuming that Fund 55 for small equipment, money is there to pay this. Is my correct?
Pretty much anybody except Jeff, yeah.
Do what? Did she say yes?
She's giving Jeff a hard time.
She said for anybody but me.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think you're a good guy in spite of your reputation here. So do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, a second by Ms. Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank
Appreciate
you. Thank you, Jeff. All right, item number 4, discuss and take appropriate action on the county judge to sign the interlocal cooperation agreement between Hood County and the city of Toller. Come on up, Mr. Sorrell, since you are the representative of the city of Toller, correct?
I am, Your Honor. Jeremy Sorrell. I'm the city attorney for the city of Toller. I'm here today on this interlocal. First, before I get into that, I'll apologize to Faye. I'm certain she's disappointed with my shoes today. I'll try to do better. Judge, I'm sure you want to see them?
No. Yeah, that's
okay. All that joking aside, I'm certain that the court is aware that recently the city of Toller has recertified their police department. Ray Wilson is the police chief over there. And so in efforts to begin those certain law enforcement efforts, we looked at certain processes for the prosecution and processing of citations and the like. It's a very strenuous process. There's a lot of reporting that is required. And the cost for the hardware and the software for that is something that Toller doesn't have the means to financially bear at this time. Perhaps moving forward, we'll be able to do that. In the interim, there are certain concurrent jurisdictions that the justice of the peace and municipalities have within the precinct, and that includes the enforcement, processing, and prosecuting of state law, and then ordinances that are affected in the city that affect the ETJ. So initially when this was brought to me, my response was we don't really need an ETJ or an interlocal. This is already all spelled out in Local Government Code Chapter 26 and 27. The concurrent jurisdiction exists. We take those tickets over there. If it's municipal ordinances that are effective in the ETJ, we take those over there. And anything within the city limits, the city of Toller will handle itself. And then Ms. Kidd reached out to the city and said, what I want to clarify is, and the whole point of this interlocal is the financial clarification. And she said, I just want it clarified that the county will process these tickets, right? It's set out in the law, there's really no choice. But as we use our processes to report and to pay the necessary costs to the state, all of the required costs that go out with these citations, that any fines, court costs, any remainder remain with the county. Of course, the city is fine with that. That would be the compensation for processing this for the city. And so I said, you know, we'll put a draft together. I put a draft together, sent it over a couple of weeks ago. Again, what you're seeing is the initial draft. I did reach out yesterday to Mr. Mills. We discussed this just briefly. I explained to him the purpose of the interlocal and that really, truly what it is at the request of Ms. Kidd, just to protect the county. We understand that. The city doesn't have an issue with that. It's just a financial clarification. And so with that, I would just ask that, certainly I think there are a few things that need to be tweaked out. Again, what I sent you was a draft. No one sent me a red line back, so there may be a couple of things we need to change. I think I saw a zip code or something that was wrong. But we can fix those couple of things. I'm just asking the court to make a motion to allow the judge to enter into the interlocal, and we'll tweak those things out and bring it back for a signature.
Mr. Mills, do you agree that this exhibit here that you and Mr. Sorrell have discussed is fine? I understand that City of Granbury for doing all this work, or that the county for doing all this work gets to keep the fines for doing this, so that's compensation for it. So do you have any objection to me signing this interlocal agreement?
We had just 3, and these are minor points. We've made a couple of amendments to the proposal that I have here, and again, you don't have to go with what I did, but the Toller zip code was wrong, so we changed that. That's on the final page. In Section 3, administration, if you can look, there's a little bit of confusion about A, B, and C there, if you're looking at that. it says in the original version, the county judge shall be responsible for administering the terms of this agreement, and then it says the county justice court shall be responsible for administering. And so it says both, essentially, and you can see it up there on the screen. So the confusion was, well, is the county judge going to be hearing these tickets, or is the JP going to hear the tickets? And so I think just for simplicity, so it's clear, it would go to the JP courts and not to the county judge's court. So we simply just struck A and converted B into A and C into B, if that makes sense. And then the other thing, we're just, and it sort of does state this, but we were a little bit unsure just about the city ordinances. And so there was a slight redraft in our version on, it's C, it's under section 1C. And I just want to be clear that Judge Howell and I are not going to be hearing code enforcement municipal stuff. That opens up, in my mind, some other questions. For instance, I don't think we can hear toller municipal ordinances in JP court in this building. I think we would have to travel to Toller and be seated as a municipal court judge, which I believe they already have a municipal court judge. So I want to make it clear that we're just going to be hearing state law type issues, no different than DPS or the sheriff could already do in Toller now. And that's all I have.
Okay, so with those two changes, then you are in agreement then, admitting A and then clarifying that Judge Howell will not do any kind of total municipal law in his position as a Hood County Justice of the Peace, correct?
That's my understanding. You can speak to
Hey, Judge, just to clarify, again, draft, the administration issue I don't have an issue with. That was an option for you guys to decide who is going to administer that. So I don't have any issue with that. As to the third issue there in section, was it 1C, Matt, that you, for the city, enforcing the city ordinances. So the law is clear on this, right? Anything that happens within the city limit, the JP is excluded from jurisdiction. It can't hear it. However, any city ordinances under Chapter 27 of the Government Code that affect the ETJ, the concurrent jurisdiction does exist. So if it's a city ordinance that is effective in the ETJ and there's a violation, under Chapter 27, that concurrent jurisdiction already exists and it would be filed with the JP. That's what I was trying to explain earlier. Anything that occurs within the city limits that's a city ordinance will be handled by Toller. Anything in the ETJ, that concurrent jurisdiction under Government Code 27 exists. So the use of the term ordinance is reflective of anything that occurs in the ETJ. And Judge, I don't even know if Toller has any ordinances that affect the ETJ, but that's just straight out of the Government Code.
Okay. Well, I guess with those two revisions on the thing, if y'all can do those two revisions to this agreement, then I think we can go ahead and vote on this to.
I got a couple of questions.
I do have a printed, if I can approach, Judge.
Yes. What do you have?
This is, so what I'm handing you only changes 1C, section 1C, and then it deletes that county judge administering the terms in section 3, and then it changes the Toller zip code. Those are the only differences in what I gave you and what you had.
Okay. Have you seen this, Mr. Sorrell?
I'm looking at it now, Judge.
So, Mr. Sorrell, did you say when you first came that what you would like for us to do today is just to acknowledge that there will be an interlocal agreement, but not to sign it today? Is that what you said earlier?
No, I'm asking you to authorize the judge to enter into an agreement based on the terms that we discuss and agree on here today.
Okay.
Again, I sent a draft over, and this was the first time I'm seeing any sort of a response to that draft. We did speak a little bit Yesterday, I explained to Mr. Mills the gist of what we were looking for. I mean,
would you like time to study it?
To me, I'm not really even asking you to do this. The law is already clear. We don't have to have an interlocal agreement. This was at the request of Ms. Kidd for the benefit of the county. So I'm coming here today saying we want to have a great relationship with the county from the city of Toller. So because she wants that financial clarification, I think some things are getting mixed up here in that we're going to cover this and we're not going to cover that. That's already established in state law. The whole crux of this is covering her request saying, look, we understand you're not going to send any money to Toller when you process these fines and court costs. That's the gist of this. So I would just impress upon you not to get caught up in the legal issues of what will be enforced or won't be enforced. Chapters Government Code 26 and 27 already tell us that. We don't need to rewrite the government code, right? We already know what we can bring to you and what we can't bring to you on that concurrent jurisdiction. The whole crux of this is just kind of laying it out, explaining it, saying we don't expect any money.
Well, then it doesn't do any harm to go ahead and sign this, does it?
That's fine,
Or the
Judge.
revised.
Yeah, okay,
Or
good.
the revised one.
Okay,
So
so
with-
this
with
revised
that-
copy here,
With that clarification that it's not inside the city limits, are you okay with that, Mr. Mills? Is that what we were looking for here?
Well, that we're not doing municipal ordinances in Toller is all that.
Yes, okay.
That's
All right,
what,
Good with that.
that's
We're
what
within
your
the same
clarification
limit, right.
was.
Yeah,
So-
only those required by state law.
So that's what your red line was, is to clarify that.
Just to try to tighten that up so that it's clear we're not going to be seated as municipal court hearing local ordinances, that's all.
Okay.
That's correct.
okay.
So with that, I'll make the motion to authorize the judge to sign the revised document that was handed to us by the county attorney for the interlocal cooperation agreement between Hood County and the city of Toller.
Do I hear a second? Second. Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Samuelson to allow the county judge to sign the interlocal cooperation agreement between Hood County and the city of Toller with the revised copy, which we have just discussed, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion?
Yes. I got a couple of questions. Mr. Sorrell, I haven't had a chance to look at these indemnifications. Are those mirrors?
They are.
Okay. The other question is, it says, a county representative shall attend a city council meeting, present such citation reports as city council may request. Who comes to mind for that duty?
Well, the contract will be administered by whoever you choose, so that's who we would request to come and just occasionally give the city an update on the processing and the practices.
So is there any reason we can't iron out all these, iron this thing out and bring it back for signature next time? Are you good with it?
I'm fine with it. I mean, if you want me or the judge or both to go to Toller, once a quarter and say what's up, I don't mind doing that.
Okay.
This judge and whoever succeeds him probably would be okay doing that too.
Okay. All right. That's all I got.
Any further discussion?
I'd like to say something.
Go ahead.
There seems to be a lot of stuff going on that's flowing through my office, and I don't know anything about all this. I had a discussion a month and a half ago with Matt, Mr. Mills, about all this. I don't have a problem with it, but how is all this going to happen? Who's going to bring us the citations? Where are we going to get them? Who's going to bring them to us? My clerks are going to process all this. I understand all that. Who do we report back to that these citations have been brought into our office and dealt with? Who's going to go arrest these people when I have to issue a warrant because they haven't come in and taken care of this? Who's going to know? How are these people going to know that they have to come in for a show cause hearing because they didn't ever show up? I mean, I know that those are our responsibilities. I understand that, but I don't think there's been any consideration of what my office is going to go through to process all this stuff in Toller. I don't have a problem with it. I just want everybody to be aware that this is stuff that's going to go through our office, and I want y'all to understand who you're putting in a position of having to take care of all this business. That's all I have to say about it.
And I had the same question. I don't know who Mr. Sorrell gave this to, you said 10 days or so ago, but I didn't see it until I didn't see it until the agenda was posted, and then I did reach out to you, and I know now that you're on vacation, but I did try to find out, did you know about it?
I've got your stuff, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it. But, again, I don't care. We'll process whatever comes through that door. But I'd like to know how this is all going to happen. Is Ray Wilson going to bring us the citations? Are they going to put a box over there where I get my citations here? There's some mechanics here that aren't ironed out in this, and I've never seen this whole thing right here, this whole resolution deal. So I'd like to see a copy of it when y'all get it ironed out. Thank you.
Do you want to respond to that, Mr. Sorrell?
Judge, again, just to clarify, this is already spelled out in state law. The concurrent jurisdiction already exists. The city of Toller doesn't need this agreement. We can just come and file every ticket that's a violation of state law or a municipal ordinance in the ETJ now. The whole point of this is just at Ms. Kidd's request to protect the county for the financial part of it. The processes are no different than DPS or the Sheriff's Department or anyone else that writes a ticket in the county and takes it to the JP. If we issue a citation, they're going to come to the court and they're going to file it. It's the same processes that already exist.
So the city of Toller has a marshal or somebody there now, is that correct? Or a police chief?
A police chief.
So if they write a ticket, they'll have to do it. If it's a DPS officer that writes a ticket for somebody in ETJ, they'll file the ticket with JP1, correct? Does that make sense to you, Judge Howe?
Yes.
Okay.
I understand all that. I just wanted everybody to be aware that there's a trail here and a process that needs to be ironed out before they write the first ticket, and someone comes in and goes, I'm here to pay my ticket, and I have no idea who he is or where the ticket came from. Because it happens now it happens now with tickets. Some people actually take care of their citations. Which is a big surprise to most of us, because somebody will say, DPS, it's sometime 10 days before we get the ticket. The actual ticket. I know it's on e-file.
Yeah.
But, sometimes at the sheriff's office, it's 4 or 5 days. This guy gets a ticket on Thursday night. He comes in Friday morning and says, I need to pay my ticket. I don't want to be arrested. We don't even know who you are, sir. So,
doesn't he have a copy of the ticket? Doesn't he have a copy of the ticket?
We can't take his copy. Our charging instrument is the state or the county's copy. So those are just some of the things that I wanted to point out.
You mean you're letting people walk out of your office that want to give money to the county, and you just tell them to come back later?
Yes, sir. I respect all y'all, and I respect Ms. Kidd and everybody else that takes the money in, but I'm not going to Austin and stand in front of that panel of judges and explain to them that I took money from a person that I didn't have a charging.
Okay.
And Cotton, we talked about this, it's been a while, but that's one of the reasons I thought an interlocal agreement would protect you.
Thank you.
And Judge, I think what the judge is saying is he's anticipating that Toller's going to be issuing a significant amount of citations, and he's asking for a budget amendment for more staff.
That would be no. That would be a hard no.
A hard no?
Come on.
All right.
All right, so
Anything else, Judge?
there's a motion and a second, I believe.
We have a motion and a second to allow the county judge to sign this revised interlocal agreement. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion passes 3-1. Okay, item number 5, discuss and take appropriate action to approve qualifying classes for a homeowner performing maintenance on a single-family residential on-site sewage facility OSSF system. We've got numerous speakers here on this deal, or 2 speakers. We've got Tina Brown. You want to come up here and speak about this?
Are you going to talk about it first?
We can. I was giving you the option. And James? Okay. And then James McClawson, do you want to speak, or would you rather go ahead and see what we do up here first?
I'm just here for your pleasure.
Okay, all right. Okay, so this was put on by Commissioner Andrews and Commissioner Samuelson and Jeannie Stacks. Do you want to say anything, Ms. Stacks?
Okay, you have 4 classes up there. Did you speak with, Commissioner Samuelson, did you speak with Environmental Training Systems?
I have not spoken with them. Their
Okay.
class is available.
The reason I'm asking, I did try to reach out and talk to them. I have not had the chance. I left a voicemail. This is what their website says. When you get on the first page, you now have choices for OSSF license renewal continuing education training. None of their classes are actual for homeowners. So all of their classes are supposedly advanced continuing education classes. So the other 3 do clearly have homeowner classes, but environmental training systems, that troubleshooting and repair of aerobic treatment units, electrical controls, sprayer disposal is actually a continuing education class for license holders.
Okay. So you would prefer that one be excluded?
Right.
Okay.
So, do you have, let me see what this is here. 7.5. Do you have that email that we can mark out? So there were 4 classes that were listed, and now you're saying that only 3 are qualified? Is that right?
Remove this class.
Okay.
It's that second class, the environmental training systems.
Okay. So you're saying that the Texas A&M AgriLife course, the Texas Engineering Extension Service, and Texas On-Site Wastewater Association do have classes for
Homeowners, yes,
homeowners.
sir.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. You have anything else to say?
No, sir.
Okay. Is
Thank you.
anybody else?
I'll just say this is the last step. This is actually required based on the order that was approved by TCEQ, that part of that is to post the classes that are available for homeowners. So to be in compliance with the order that we received a couple weeks ago, we need to follow through with this. This is the last step.
And I will have the forms and a reporting form for the homeowners. Anish, and I cannot pronounce his last name, so y'all will just bear with me. He's an associate professor and extension specialist with A&M AgriLife. He has reached out to me, and I will be attending the first class that he teaches in Hood County. And working with him. I have been working with him on some other projects and stuff that we've had going on. So.
Thank you for introducing me to him a few months ago. He's this has been his life, I think, for at least his career for the last 25 or 30 years, and he's very knowledgeable about this process and did some work here along with you. He's
Yes,
very appreciative of your work. He's complimented you many times. So I think this will, working with him to provide the class, and as you said, make it so that it conforms to what you need in Hood
Yes,
County.
and we are working together on that.
That's great. Thank you.
Is there anybody here from the BRA? Right there. Yes, sir, you were invited to come up here. Would you like to speak on this topic here, please? Yeah, good. Would you start off by introducing yourself and who do you work for?
My name is Mike McClendon. I'm the regional manager for the Brazos River Authority from Waco. And so, yes, sir, I was asked to attend the meeting today. The Brazos River Authority is an authorized agent like Hood County up in Palo Pinto County around Possum Kingdom Lake. We preclude homeowners from entering into maintenance agreements and taking care of their own systems unless they meet two qualifications. One of those is they have to be a certified maintenance provider. And then the other is they have to hold a Class D wastewater license, and then they have to be certified by the manufacturer of the aerobic system. And I guess just a general comment, any measures that the court would take, Commissioner's Court would take that would enhance, I guess, the water quality of Lake Granbury, the BRA would be supportive of that. And I did briefly this weekend, I guess I read through some of the rules and regs that y'all were proposing, and it looked like y'all were moving in that direction.
Okay. Well, are you familiar with these organizations here? Let me give, I don't know.
It's up on the screen.
Is it up on the screen?
Yeah, it's up on the screen.
Okay. Don't ever look at that because I'm done. So is it your opinion that if you live in close proximity, I don't know what it is, 1,500 feet or whatever, to the Lake Granbury, and you take one of these courses as a homeowner, do you think that that is going to adequately protect Lake Granbury?
Yeah, it all depends on the individual, but some of the organizations that you have up here are renowned for wastewater treatment. So it depends on the individual and how much they put into it in their system. I mean, there's some people that can operate and that should be allowed to probably, but there's some that probably shouldn't. And so some of the recommendations that y'all had considered, I kind of went through a little list and thought of some stuff. I think setback distances from property lines, the size of lots that you allowed on, setbacks from streams. I think y'all maybe proposed 200 feet or something like that, but just anything to protect the water quality that y'all could think of. I'm not sure where y'all are in your process, if y'all are finalizing the rules and regs today or what.
Can you answer that question, Ms. Dax?
All of the ones that are in the close proximity are required to have chlorinators on the systems. I believe the Brazos River Authority's rules, and you can correct me if you know, state that those chlorinators have to have a device that shuts the entire system down and will not come back on until the chlorination is back within the recommended levels. That is a BRA rule.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It is on their orders for Possum Kingdom Lake and Lake Limestone. It completely shuts the system down if it doesn't reach the right chlorine level before the effluent is dispersed into the fields. The Brazos River Authority's rules are 75 feet from lake and streams. TCQ rules are 50 feet. So we do not have the more stringent. In that instance, the Brazos River Authority's rules are actually more stringent.
Y'all have something that I like as well.
So what does that mean? If you're a homeowner now, we have the requirement that you do have to have a contract. Am I correct?
We did up until the new order took place. Now that you will have a contract with a licensed maintenance provider for the first 2 years. And if you read at the very top, it says state law requires all other aerobic treatment systems, including commercial and multifamily systems. That should also state speculative rental property all has to have contracts with like licensed maintenance providers per state law. If you have a duplex, you can't live in both sides of that duplex. You can only live in one side, so you are going to be required by law to have a contract. Even though you are a licensed homeowner living in one side of that duplex, you're renting the other side out.
It's only a single-family residence, is
Right.
what it is.
Right,
Okay.
single-family residential
So,
system.
when the people apply for this, that they're going to be their own operator on the deal, are you going to have to go out and inspect it initially to make sure they comply with and taking the
If they-
valid course? How is that going to happen? How are you
They
know?
have to,
You have, as license holders, we have the right to enter any property that has a system at a reasonable time and inspect. So if the court requires that we inspect those systems once a year that are homeowner maintained, we can do that. Other than that, we would be going off of what the reports say. If they turn in a fault, we can go check and see what that fault is. That's what we do today. If we receive a report from a maintenance provider that says the aerator is out, we go out and initiate a complaint and see if the aerator is still out or if it has been repaired.
so as Jeannie said earlier, she's working on the forms to get posted on the web that an individual that decides to take this class and do their own maintenance will complete the form, take the class, provide evidence of the class, and sign an authorization that they are taking the responsibility for maintaining their system. They understand what that means as far as the frequency of testing, turning in the reports, and they will file that with the Environmental Health Office.
Yes.
Anybody have anything else they'd like to comment on?
No, I think that, AgriLife, Teeks, and TOA are the leaders in this thing, and the educational stuff going on there, so.
I got a little something to throw out. I've done it before, but I'll do it again. So if you look at Texas Health and Safety Code 366.0515G, it says the owner of a single-family residence shall maintain the system either directly or through a maintenance contract. So they have even the state statute gives the homeowner of a single-family residence an option. But it goes further than that. If you've got at least 40,000 population, if there's a violation that occurs for a homeowner that's maintaining his own system, he's written up and has 10 days to fix it. If he fixes it, fine, everybody goes down the road, but that starts a 3-year clock ticking, that within 3 years, if he gets another violation, he must go apply or contract with a provider. So it's like he gets a warning the first time he fixes it, it's fine, but if he gets another one, he has to go get a provider. And if he doesn't fix it, he has to go get a provider. So that's the state rule right there. And I know that there's concern about us being closer to a lake, and I appreciate the setback requirements. You know, I've heard 50 feet TCEQ, 75 feet BRA. 100 feet would be fine with me. Some sort of proximity that's close to the lake. But again, my argument has always been on the stronger regulations. A, does it really fix anything? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I did have an aerobic system, and I did have a contract, and I watched the guy come do the work, and he basically came over and pushed the button to see if the sprinkler heads popped up, and he put chlorine in there. Well, I didn't need to go to a class to be able to do that, but I was required to have a contract because the county forced me to, or I would get in trouble. So again, I think that we've got something here that I would hope that's reasonable, that's between what we had and what the state allows, and gets back to my philosophy. I assume that people are going to do the right thing, and the government tends to assume they're going to do the wrong thing. And I just don't agree with that. So that's me. Thank you.
I understand, Mr. Andrews, that you got a letter from Todd Gardner. Did you receive that email from Todd Gardner this morning?
The one from 3:02 a.m.? Yeah, I got it.
This morning?
I don't know when.
And those are good questions.
I got it at 2:58 a.m.
Say that I saw that one yet. Yep, there we go.
Have any other speakers?
Well, you're looking for that. You want to say something now, Ms. Brown?
So what email did you get at 3 or 8 a.m. this morning? Who was that from? I didn't catch that. Did it have something to do with this?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to start your comments?
The one I got is addressed to Commissioner Andrews, and that was from Todd Gardner, and I just got a copy of it here, so.
Okay. All right, I would.
Her clock's running, so she should.
Well, I mean, he can start over. I mean, I wanted to hear everything in case I had a question, and I didn't have to go back.
Basically, the question is, how will it benefit the quality of Lake Granbury? How many areas in the state of Texas allow homeowner maintenance? How many BRA watersheds have allowed homeowner maintenance? And has a recommendation been sought from the Brazos River Authority concerning the change in the policy and the effects that it would have on Lake Granbury? Actually, I think for the two questions, the vast majority of the state, like Dave read in the out-of-state law there, the vast majority of the state allows homeowner inspections of this.
So who was this email from? I'm sorry.
Todd Garner.
Is he somebody with BRA or TCEQ?
He's a citizen.
Oh,
He's a
okay.
citizen, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to follow all this. So we had a public meeting on 8/8, and those certain things had to be sent off to TCEQ. One was the minutes, which I read were attested on 8/10. I'm not really sure about what that means, that one person, did everybody look over those minutes and attest to them, or just?
No, that's
just. So every other open meeting I go to, they always approve the minutes. This is the only board I go to that they don't approve the minutes. I'm wondering why. And then the minutes were certified on 8/21. How does that happen? What does certified mean? I'm guessing you're going to answer.
This is a county clerk question.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about my job. That's what I do. I attest all the minutes for the courts.
Okay, and how does those minutes then get certified? You do that too?
Yes.
Okay, and then there was an email that was received by only 2 people on this court and 1 person here, the environmental. There was an email that was received by 3 of you on 9/13, and on 9/13, Mr. Biggers was already advertising that. I'm wondering which one of y'all informed him that, it's like, how did that happen?
I don't think that it was any secret that.
But how did he know? I mean, we didn't know, but how did he know the email came in that day? Because he posted that day. He posted a picture with it highlighted on his page. I was sent a screenshot of it because he has me blocked. As a
I
public,
communicated with him. We talked on this issue.
So you sent him a copy of it?
And I told him, copy of what?
of the order that it had been approved.
The one that came back from the state, from
Yes.
TCEQ? I very well may have. I don't
But your
know.
name wasn't even on that email.
Okay, then it may not have been me. I don't know.
Okay.
I do
Well,
know that I
that's
communicated
what I'm
with
here
him.
asking.
I'm not, you know.
How did someone in the audience here?
It's public record. It's all, everything that emails that we have are, anyone can ask for an open records request or public records.
So how did he know to ask on 9/13 for that email? Did he do that, or did you tell him? Or did you tell somebody who told him? I'm just trying to get how he knew what classes were going to be approved that he was going to teach, what classes were going to be approved today. How did he know that on the 13th?
The classes are not approved until we take a vote.
So he knew on the 13th, classes are coming. He posted that on the 13th. I'm just trying, it wasn't public knowledge on 9/13. Unless you told somebody.
How is this relevant to the agenda item? I'm not
I'm just
following.
trying to go down this. How did he know about the classes before anybody else even knew it had been approved?
The anticipation of this, I think one of the driving factors of this whole thing has to been to get the AgriLife class approved for the homeowners. I don't think that was any surprise or, I mean, that's what the drive here was, is to get the AgriLife class approved. So.
But according to Dave, these classes were already available, right? I mean, any homeowner could have done this before.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
where? No.
According to state, we could do this, right? Take a class and.
No, it depends on your county's order, which we got the order as you listed. We got the order approved. You went through the steps of getting the order approved. Once the order is approved, part of that order was to qualify certain classes that the county will allow. And working with the environmental health director, we developed or came up with these classes. As you saw, we were striking one of them. So it's been known for months that there were going to be classes that you would have to take. When we introduced the order way back April, whenever it was, when this exact exhibit was part of that court, because I just pulled it back up and changed some things on the top that Ms. Jeannie wanted on there, but those are the same classes that were presented back in April when the order was first introduced into court. So maybe he used that, I don't know.
Are these online courses?
Some of them are, yes. Or they
Can you
can
tell
be
me which
inside.
ones? Which ones are online and in-person
You
classes?
took my exhibit, so. They can be online or in person.
But you don't know?
Yes, the first one you can take online or in person. The second one we are striking. I've looked at these in April, but I'd have to go back and look to see if these are on-site. I believe both the Texas Engineering Extension and the Texas On-Site Water Association are in person. I don't believe they provide online.
Is there anyone in Hood County that is providing these classes?
Well, not at this time. We're working on that. I mean, our Ag Extension Office is working, as Jeannie said, along with Anish and Jeannie to provide a class here.
So environmental health will be providing a class?
The court has the right to designate that they take only in-person classes if y'all choose.
I think the anticipation, if a private citizen wants to go out and say, hey, AgriLife, can I book you guys to come teach a class in Hood County, even whether that's accepted by Hood County or not is irrelevant. He can choose to put on a class with the anticipation that this thing was going to be approved today. Nothing's even been approved yet, so.
I know, but.
So,
But you don't see my confusion?
I don't see the relevance of your comment.
This is something that's been brewing. I don't think there's any big surprises here. There's no question.
Well, the big surprise was when finding it on Facebook that Mr. Biggers had notification before anybody here. I mean, only Nanette's name and the judge's name was on the email. So that was just confusing to me. I would like to suggest that you do personal classes online. Although some people do learn better online, as I've been told, but I do think it would be good to have a in-person class, and she said that y'all can designate that to happen. I'd also like to ask Mr. Eagle, where was your aerobic system and when?
What is the time? Just our clock went away. Your time is passed, sorry.
That's pretty irrelevant, too.
I'm not sure.
That's irrelevant? Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. McCaslin, do you want to speak?
If you have questions for me, otherwise
Anybody else?
So do y'all want to limit the classes to in-person classes only?
Not me.
No, if they offer it online, that's good with that. Again, no.
And the reason I'm asking, because Bosque County limits it to in-person only, because Bosque County has reached out and want us to let them put the fact that this class will be held November 14th on their website, so they want to come. They want to attend. People can come over here, can enroll in this class, so they can maintain their own systems in Bosque County, because they only allow in-person classes.
Well, I'm opposed to any homeowner that's close to the lake maintaining their own aerobic septic system, period. I think that Lake Granbury is so important to Hood County and the city of Granbury. I'm totally against this, and we'll see. It may be too late to do anything about it if people do not inspect their system, do what they're supposed to do. For, what is it, 150, how much is it a year to maintain your, Mr. McCaslin, do you know that? Is it 150 or $200?
150 and probably 400, just depending on whether you're shopping.
And just while he's walking up here, just a reminder that this isn't changing the requirements to test or turn in the status of your system. The exact same requirements are in place. It's just who's doing the work. And also, Jeannie still has all her authority to cite individuals or homeowners or septic providers, maintenance providers, if they're not doing the job. So nothing along those lines has changed.
Do you answer my question now? Do you know how much it cost?
I have a limited information as to that because I am in the private sector now, but from what I understand, the companies are charging between probably $150 and as much as they can get, to be quite honest.
Right.
So shop.
Did you at one time have Jenny Stack's office?
I did for nearly 20 years.
For nearly 20 years. What was there something about at one point when homeowners were allowed to maintain their own septic system, did Lake Granbury become impaired?
Until Hood County.
Explain that history to me.
until Hood County reached the population threshold of, I believe it's 41,000, is that right, Commissioner Eagle?
It's 40 now.
40, okay, which happened sometime in the either the late 90s or early 2000s. Citizens could maintain their own, but by the time I'd reached the office, it was written into the order by a previous director of environmental health that maintenance would be required by a licensed maintenance provider. And so that was carried on through, and several times with the change of commissioners' courts, it had come up and was reconsidered. The courts, in doing their diligence, I hope, at least it was explained to me, decided with information from the Brazos River Authority, EPA, as well as TCEQ, that it was in their best interest to keep that requirement, to keep the feds out of Hood County business, and to keep, and the reason why I say that is a couple commissioners was apparently aware of or concerned that the watershed could be put on the EPA's TMDL list, which is the total maximum daily loading list. And if it was, it means that it's impaired and there's elevated bacterial counts. If it was put on the list, then at that point the feds would impose requirements for the county, to more stringent requirements. That never happened. Additional sampling from the Brazos River Authority basically proved that there was not extensive contamination. However, in the coves and in the concentrate areas, there was in fact contamination. But whether that was from ruminants or from on-site sewage facilities, I don't think that was ever established.
So what is the status of the coves and the other areas right now for Lake Granbury right now?
Well, I think that would be a question for the persons doing the sampling, probably the Brazos River Authority.
Okay. Do you know?
It is my understanding that there are 3 testing points on Lake Granbury at this point. One is at the 51 bridge, one is at the 377 bridge, and one is at the dam. Those are the only places that are currently being tested.
Well, what are the test results at all 3 places? Is any of them close to being impaired water for Lake Granbury?
If you went into the coves, you're probably going to find some. But
Objection, non-responsive. The 3 places that you said, are any of them showing a problem?
the 51 bridge has been increasing.
But you probably don't have the data with you right now.
I do not have the
So
correct
I
data
would
with me, no.
prefer you to,
The 51 bridge has been increasing over the last few years.
so I think if we want to put an agenda item on to have Jeannie come back and give us a specific status, giving her time to go look.
The BRA is the one that has that data.
I would prefer you have the data with you than be put on the spot without the data.
Thank you.
Hold it. How close are we, is the 51 bridge water being close to being contaminated?
I don't think she has that data, Judge.
I don't know what the last data was.
Do you know, sir?
No, I do not. Our environmental manager has that information. That's the latest, if you'd like it.
How soon can you get it to us?
Probably about this afternoon.
This afternoon? Would you get it to Ms. Stacks this afternoon? Okay.
One other point before we close this one out.
I'd just like to know, to see what it is.
Sorry. In speaking with any issues, the professor that Jeannie mentioned that is, spent a better part of his life in this profession, when he came up and talked to us a few months back, when we were going through the process, we weren't finished with the process, his comments were what he's seen across the state is when homeowners are trained to do their own maintenance, the status actually improves. So coming from someone who that's their life and their profession, that was a really good thing to hear.
Yep, I've been beating that drum. An educated homeowner is the best weapon against this being a contamination problem. Educate the homeowners. The vast majority of people I know don't want to live in their own sewage. They're going to take care of this. There needs to be enforcement for those that don't, but let people do the right thing and live in, I clean my house. I expect other people do too.
Well,
So with that, I'll make the
time will
motion.
tell.
And
It's
that
just
is
that it may
part
be
of-
too late. Time will tell.
That is part of the reason I was saying, if you're planning on training the homeowners, have them do the in-person classes. I mean, I know the TOA class is definitely in person. I'm not sure on the TEKS class. I do know they have in-person classes. I don't know if they have online classes also. And I believe the AgriLife was offering online classes, and I do not know if they still are.
Yeah, AgriLife does have an online class. With that, I'll make the motion to approve qualifying classes as listed on the exhibit, eliminating the second class, which is environmental training systems, from the list, as qualifying classes for homeowners performing maintenance on a single-family residential on-site sewage facility system.
Second.
Okay, a motion been made by Commissioner Samuelson to allow homeowners on a single-family residential home to maintain their own on-site sewage facility systems, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
I didn't fill out a report. Is it possible to just approach the...
No, that's out of order. I'm sorry, there's a,
I don't give it,
It's so-
I've given it back to you.
no, you gave it to,
Oh,
I'll repeat the motion.
do you have it? Did I give it to Jeannie?
You gave it to the
Oh,
BRA
to the-
gentleman, I think. But I have it on my screen here.
Where is the piece of paper?
So the motion, I'll repeat, motion to approve qualifying classes as listed in the exhibit, eliminating environmental training systems. So that will be Texas A&M AgriLife, Texas Engineering Extension Service, and Texas On-Site Water Association as qualifying classes for a homeowner performing maintenance on a single-family residential on-site sewage facility system.
Okay.
It was seconded by Commissioner
Any further
Andrews.
discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay and raise your hand. Nay. So the ayes have it, 3-1. Okay.
He's asking for a break.
All right, it's, what is it? Okay, at 10:47, we're going to take a short break here. Okay, thank you. Okay, it is now 11:06, and we are back in Commissioners Court, and we're at item number 6. Consider and take appropriate action to accept the 2023-2024 interlocal agreements with the 9 volunteer fire departments. These agreements are to take effect October the 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. Again, Fire Marshal now, demoted him from Field Marshal to Fire Marshal. Jeff Young, yes, sir.
My name tag is going to be like 5 inches long. This is just the interlocal agreements that we have with the 9 volunteer fire departments to provide services to the county.
All right, have you looked at all these agreements, Mr. Mills?
I know I have in the past. I mean, this is what we do every year, right?
Is this the same exact thing?
It's the exact same one as last year. The only thing that's changed is the amount of subsidy.
So the only thing that's changed is just the date?
The dollar amount.
The dollar amount and the date, yes, sir.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make a motion to approve the 2023-24 interlocal agreements with the 9 VFDs.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioners Andrews to approve the 2023-2024 interlocal agreements with the 9 volunteer fire departments, seconded by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. You oppose, raise your right hand and say nay. Passes unanimously 4-0.
I feel cheated in time. You sure we can't argue about something in here?
Yeah, that's usually, yeah. Somebody got, sure you don't have any inane questions about here? Yeah, okay. All right. Number 7, discuss and take appropriate action to approve the Hood County Collection Station holiday schedule to coincide with the already approved county holidays, and request the Citizens Collection Station be closed the following dates: Saturday, November 25th, 2023, Saturday, December 23rd, 2023, Saturday, December 30th, 2023, Saturday, March 30th, 2024, and Saturday, July 6th, 2024. Environmental Health, Ms. Stacks.
Yes, these are the Saturdays in conjunction with holiday, that the county is already off holidays during this time frame, and to give the part-time employees at the collection station the full time off. I have to get this approved. These are the same dates that the library used.
Okay. And we've already done that, so do I hear a motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make the motion to include the following dates for the Hood County Collection Station holiday schedule: Saturday, November 25th, 23, Saturday, December 23rd, 23, Saturday, December 30th of 23, Saturday, March 30th, 24, and Saturday, July 6th of 24.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to approve the holidays Saturdays as stated in the record, second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Number 8, discuss and consider for approval extending the time for the Sheriff's Office employees to use holiday pay until December 31st, 2023. Sheriff Deeds.
Judge, Commissioners, I ask that we extend the time to try to get some of that holiday pay used up. I'm down 7 people in the jail right now, so that makes it extremely hard, and just as busy as we are overall, it's hard to be able to take that time off when they're working that time too. So just ask that you extend it till at least December 31st. The treasurer talked to me before and said maybe we could do it as a countywide deal. So that's fine with me, but I just for sure asking for my people too.
Okay.
You say you're down, they're out sick, or you need the employees?
No, I need 7 employees, and I've got a couple out on FMLA, and yeah, I think we're down 10 or 11 now total, and one shift is 9 people, so we're hurting. Nobody wants to be a jailer, I guess, so anyway, we'll keep on looking, and hopefully we'll get that built up, but it makes it hard to give people time off when they're covering for other shifts too, so.
Okay.
So Leanne, how, is there would that make it a big difference if we extended it to all county employees, or what's the impact there?
We don't have a ton of other employees that have a lot of holiday time. So it's not a big deal. What we do is take it off at the end of September. We make a spreadsheet, and then we will use whatever holiday time's left until the end that you state. And then if they haven't used it, they lose it. Unfortunately, it's not in the policy. Well, I don't even know if you want to talk about policy, but it's not in the, what is in the policy is to always use comp time and then vacation time unless your vacation is maxed, and then you take a full day. So holiday time is at the discretion of the supervisor. If they don't put it in the timekeeping system, we don't use it. So here we're at the end of the fiscal year. There are some that have a few, but I think across the board it would be best. It's not a huge, it's just more paperwork, but it's fine. We did it last year. But then you have to, is the new budget allow this money to be spent on time off? That does need to be considered.
Any further discussion? Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make a motion to approve extending the time for all employees to use holiday pay until December 31st, 23.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to extend the time for the sheriff's office employees to use holiday pay until
All employees
All county employees.
all county employees?
have holiday pay, unused holiday pay.
All holiday employees to use holiday pay until December 31st, 2023. Second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
You're up next, Sheriff. 9, consider and take appropriate action to approve Hood County constable and sheriff fees and commissions for 2024 under Local Government Code 118.131.
Judge, Commissioners, this is my cleanup from last year. There was a line item on there that, in the spreadsheet, where we had to fix for sequestrations and tax warrants. Last year, we unsuspectingly, I missed it, where sequestrations were 400 and tax warrants were 175. We corrected those two. And then there was a typo a little bit farther down about of or, and we fixed that. Then the sheriff had one change.
Just in animal control, so otherwise it's pretty much the same, and most of it is constables.
Yeah.
The rabies testing went from 50 to 75.
Yeah, it hadn't been increased since 2009.
Does any of this need to be approved or run by the appraisal district?
No.
Well, I'm just curious.
It does need to go through the comptroller.
Yeah, it has to be done by October 1st, submitted to the comptroller by the 15th to take effect January 1 of 2024.
Any further discussion? If not, do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the Hood County constable and sheriff fees and commissions for 2024 under Local Government Code 118.131.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Samuelson to approve the Hood County constable and sheriff fees and commissions for 2024 in the Local Government Code 118.131. Second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 10, discuss pros and cons of adopting Robert's rules for conducting Commissioners Court meeting. This is for discussion only. Commissioner Eagle.
So, when we first get elected, we attend, county judge does, the commissioners newly elected, we go to commissioner school and kind of get a crash course in what we do up here. And one of the issues that's covered is how to conduct your meetings. And I've had comments come back to me that sometimes this meeting gets out of control. We are an Article 5 court. It consists of 4 commissioners and the county judge as the presiding officer. And I have looked high and low for presiding officer guidelines. And the only place I can find anything that speaks directly to the presiding officer's function and as well as everybody else is in Robert's rules. Now, being a active member in a political party, when we have conventions or go down to state conventions, Robert's rules is the order of conducting business. But I agree, or I understand, or I recognize that Robert's rules is also can be a quagmire of things to learn. But if you look at Robert's Rules of Order, and I'm just throwing this on the table, I'm not saying anything beyond throwing it on the table, it says parliamentary procedure comes out of a treatise called The Basics. Benefits of parliamentary procedure include the following: justice and courtesy for all, maintenance of order, consideration of one item at a time, all sides get heard, majority rule, and protection of rights of all members, including the minority. And sometimes we have differences of opinion up here, and which is fine. That's what I'm a total advocate of, somebody saying no once in a while to all the other yeses. I certainly have advocated that to the school board, which they call themselves a team of 8, and that's a whole other subject. And of course, Robert's Rules is not in their vocabulary at all. But I'm throwing it on the table as a point of discussion because I feel like that sometimes, and we do have rules of decorum, by the way. They're very well spelled out, but we need some sort of consideration of staying with our rules of decorum. And one of the earmarks that was enacted in 2019 legislature that's added into our rules of decorum, because it was added to the Open Meetings Act, which is the government code 551 or 552, one of those. I always get the records is one of them and meetings is the other one. It says, and we've got it in our rules of decorum, these rules do not prohibit criticism of the Commissioner's Court, including any criticism of any act, omission, policy, procedure, program, or service. And I think that transparency is a big deal, but I think when you come up here, we also have in our rules of decorum that it needs to be related to county business in some way or another. That's what we do, is we conduct county business up here. And some of ad hominem attacks up here is really even outside our own rules of decorum. And maybe I'm sensitive to it because I'm the recipient of a lot of that, and I'll admit to that, but the judge has been a recipient of it, and Commissioner Samuelson has been a recipient of it, and so has Commissioner Andrews. And I would like to see us raise the bar a little bit in this meeting where it doesn't digress into chaos sometimes that it does. And at least if I walked into a regular courtroom and said some of the stuff that I've heard in here, I would be in jail for it, for contempt of court. And we do have contempt power, by the way. And I haven't really gotten with Jim Allison, who's the lawyer that we turn to for many of these, at least one of the lawyers we turn to. Another one's Mr. Mills knows down in Austin, who gives us legal opinions on occasion. But I'm throwing this on the table because I would like to see what we can do to make this more of a business experience between all of us, whether we have differences of opinion politically, that's fine. If you got a problem with me on something I've done or passed or voted on, come talk to me about it. We're probably not going to, we may not agree about it, but my door's always been open. And rather than play it out in the theater, sometimes theater here. So I don't know if somebody else has any thoughts on this, but that was kind of my reasoning for this. And maybe I'm out of tune by even bringing it up, but this is my thinking.
Okay, we have some speakers lined up to speak on this. First is Elizabeth Mercer.
So I don't disagree. I've had several meetings over a long period of time in different organizations where Robert's Rules of Order was indeed what we used. I don't know that it's really necessary here, but I think that maybe we might want to define things, because giving my employee, and you all work for me, every last one of you, because you cash a check that I help pay for. You work for every person in this room and every person in the county. So if I give you a job critique, that isn't necessarily meant, that's not out of bounds, that's not even not part of Robert's Rules of Orders. Now, if I make that personal and call you names, that's different. But just saying, this is what you've done, and it is my job as your employer to ensure that you do not create a hostile work environment, or you do not disrespect the subject matter experts, or you don't behave in a way that I think is improper, that isn't a violation of anything. It's not even disrespectful. I have 40 years of business experience, because that's how long I worked for various companies in corporate America, and I have been dressed down more than once if I didn't do my job properly. You can bet I did it properly afterwards. That's the role of an employer. And we are your employer, all of us. So I want to make sure that we are very careful with this, that we don't say, you can't question me. Because if you question me, you hurt my feelings. And if you have said that I haven't done my job properly, then you're questioning me. And you really, as public officials, in my opinion, don't have that right. You just don't. You serve at the pleasure of your constituency, it's true. You cash your paychecks at the pleasure of the county. And that's all of us. So I don't disagree. Like when I got raucous from the gallery, I was completely out of line. And I also would like some clarity. And that clarity is this: who can assign contempt? Because in a court of law, it's a judge. So who does that here? Because I haven't read the government code, and I would like to know that, just since you've brought it up, I would like to know that. And if we're going to do this, and I'm perfectly, this is just really, we should be doing this. We should all be behaving. I get that, myself included. But I remember asking the judge a question about speaking out of turn, and Ms. Lang, you screamed no in the courtroom because I just looked at you and laughed and said, that's okay, I'll put it online. It's all of us. It's not just the people who come up here and speak. It's all of us. So if we're going to declare that we're going to be more civil and we're going to be more respectful, then okay, let's let it be all of us, but let's not be super sensitive. Kevin Andrews, one of the first times we talked, you told me I was crazy quilt, and I just laughed, and when we got off the phone, I laughed. I wasn't mad at you. We have to develop a sense of humor. We have to develop some respect for each other. And if you're going to ask me to do that, and you have every right to do so, and I should be respectful, then I'm going to ask it of all of you. And I'm going to ask you to not be so sensitive. If you haven't done your job properly according to someone who pays your salary, then you don't get to cry. What is that line from that movie? There's no crying in baseball? Well, there's no crying in Commissioner's Court either. Thank you.
I agree with you. You're absolutely correct. And I don't think anybody up here is advocating to remove any criticism. I think that you're 100% correct. If we do something wrong, to come up here and get to tell us that you feel that we've done something wrong is absolutely how this system should work, 100%. But I very strongly, we have absolutely lost the civility in this thing.
But I agree, sir. I wish we could all be nicer to each other. That doesn't mean when an angry person stands here and says you haven't done your job.
Absolutely.
You know, but I'm not going to call anybody a name either.
Yeah.
And if I do and you hold me in contempt, then march me out. Or if the judge says to me, you're out of order, leave, and I refuse, march me out. Because that's what I deserve. But yeah, let's all be civil. We should all be adults, and I get that.
Thank you.
Okay. Brad Yarborough has left, so the next speaker is Dr. Harold Granick.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. Most of my talking will be from the document I received back there, Rules and Procedures, Conduct and Decorum of Meetings of the Hood County Commissioners Court. I'll point out that under section Roman numeral 5, the county judge is the presiding officer of the Hood County Commissioners Court. And under item 6, the county judge or designated judge is responsible for conducting all meetings and members of the public. Under item 4C, the Commissioners Court will be allowed to receive input or information, including input or information for proposed future agenda items, but will not be allowed to enter any discussions. That's under the citizens' comments at large, of which all the commissioners and the judge have signed, and our county clerk. And under item F, under section 4, these rules do not prohibit public criticism of the Commissioners Court, including criticism of any act, omission, policy, procedures, and program or services. During our open mic discussion, these rules were violated because there was interruption. Even when our county clerk was talking, she was interrupted and her time was interrupted. So y'all signed it, follow it. As to addressing the issue of Robert's Rules of Order, for decades I've dealt with meetings with Robert's Rules of Orders. I'm more concerned about the quagmire. I don't know if our United States Congress is under Robert's Rules of Order, but I certainly note the quagmire that exists there and how little gets done. And I don't want these meetings to be stretched out any more than they are already. So I think the way we have it is good, and I think it just everybody needs to follow the rules. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina Brown is our next speaker.
When I saw this on the agenda, my husband goes, "Did you look that up?" And I'm like, "There's 400 pages. I have no, I have no idea." So I signed up to speak, not knowing what this was going to be about. But yes, this is the only court that does seem to get, or only board that does seem to get out of order. But it is also the only one that allows us to come up and really freely talk and have a discussion with you. So I hope we can continue that. The problem seems to be transparency and division in this county. It's bad, and it's you on the dais up here need to set an example. When you talk over the judge, and you let us do the same thing, but you only want to criticize us for doing it. But y'all are setting the example up there. So y'all need to do a better job of that. I would like to know, like maybe, if the judge has made a motion that you're out of order, y'all don't need to jump in. I mean, I guess we need more directions on what that means, that he's the presiding officer. And I don't remember the last time anyone came up here and talked about something that wasn't county business. Do y'all? How long ago? I mean, the last thing what was not talked about?
I think bringing up something that Commissioner Eagle said at a school board meeting doesn't have anything to do with county business. That's, sure, it's criticism or whatever, but that doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing here. So.
Your time's going, so I don't want you to lose it.
I'm sorry?
I don't want you to lose your time.
Oh, well, that's just, I really didn't have anything prepared because Robert's Rules of Order are way too big. So now I know that we're basically talking about parliamentary procedure and legislature 551 government code. So I guess I'll go look that up and have a better understanding of what y'all hope to accomplish. Thank you.
Paul Holliday.
He had to leave.
Okay, that concludes all the speakers.
I do pretty much agree with everything Tina said. Robert's Rules is, or I should say Ms. Brown. The Robert's Rules is, there's courses you can take on it, there's books that you can purchase. It is a lot, but fortunately, there's a cheat sheet. So I'm going to pass this down to, I guess, I didn't know Jack wasn't going to be here, so. Anyway, there is a cheat sheet that if we, talk about this later or put on the agenda and decide to adopt it, we have this cheat sheet that goes through, and I can put this, I didn't send it to Drew because I just printed it off last night, so I'm sorry about that. I'll get it out on the website, or if you want it, just email me and I will send it to you. It goes through the different actions, what to say. Can this action interrupt a speaker? Is a second needed? Can it be debated? Can it be amended? And what vote is needed, either majority or chair decision? No vote, 2/3. There's different things for different actions. So fortunately, there's a cheat sheet to that long and very detailed Robert's rules. I do agree that one of the things I noticed, well, first I want to say I'm very in favor of having people come up and speak. I'm the one that made the motion to have it at every meeting instead of just once a month, and invite instead of allow. So I really want to allow people to redress their grievances with their government. And as a couple of people have said, it's our job to stay up here and listen and learn from it and take action if necessary at a later court date. So very in favor of that. One of the things that I've noticed, just because we're such a small town and we have relationships with each other outside of court, what it appears to me, and this kind of dawned on me over the last couple of special meetings that we had, it kind of feels like we're more in our living room than in a courtroom. People speak out of turn, whether it's us or in the audience, and we're not following, as Dr. Granick said, we're not following our rules. I mean, just today during open mic, the judge even said, I'm not supposed to say this, but, and then he began a conversation. Well, he knew that he was not following his own rules, but we feel compelled, and I get this too, I feel compelled to answer because I want to provide information, and it's kind of hard sometimes to hold back. And you know the person, you have a relationship outside of court with the person, whatever, you know them, they're your friend, whatever, you want to provide the information, and it's hard to not do that, but we need to do a better job of following our rules, as well as we need to set the example, however you want to say it, that this is a court, not our living room, and make sure that we're holding that standard. So I just pass this out as an example of if we do decide to go down this road, we don't have to have a book, a giant book over here and flip through the pages and slow down the court. We do have a faster way to go about it, and it might help us stay more with our rules if we did do that. Those are my comments.
Anything else? If not, let's move on to the next item, then 11. Consider and take appropriate action to authorize the county judge to sign the following interlocal agreements for Hood County animal control. Hello, Kelly Kirk, Sheriff Deeds. All right, take it away.
Well, this was on the agenda in the past, and we just wanted to bring it up again so we can get something done before October 1st. So we've had some discussion with Commissioner Andrews, and we're open. We're here to serve the public and take care of business, and sometimes it costs money to do that, but that part's up to you to decide on how we're going to handle that. So you've been provided in the past the contracts and the backup for all of that, so we're just here to answer any questions.
Well, I'll avoid all the heartfelt discussion about, what's the right and wrong thing here. Cities are required to have a local rabies control authority. counties are required to, if we enter into an interlocal agreement, counties have to be fairly compensated. So what I would like to, I would make a motion that we amend these to say $500 for local rabies control authority, or the breakdown that you've done. Stockton Ben's contract was for $170. We're not doing much down there. So either the $500 for the local rabies control authority, or the contract as presented, and then the city of Granbury, well, there's not really a delicate way to say this. They pick up dead animals off the street and bring them to animal control to dispose of. We pay that service $140 a month, approximately. So with the city of Granbury, I'd like to amend their contract to include, half the disposal fee of $840. That's my motion to approve the interlocals with those amendments.
Did you say that again?
So it would be provide LRCA, the Local Rabies Control Authority, for a flat fee of $500, or do the contract as presented, whichever one's lower, because Stockton Ben is the 170. And then include an additional, because the city of Granbury brings their animals in for disposal, an additional $840 to that, for them to offset the cost of the disposal there.
Are these in this agreement you brought us? I don't see those numbers.
No, they're not. This is...
So we're doing this on the fly, kind of.
Yeah, we brought to you the contracts as they've been in the past. So this was something new and different.
This is the discuss and take appropriate action part.
How much money, I like the gentleman that was speaking there, I forgot who it was, about, Mark Lowry. Just the efficiency of running the government here. What are we talking about here? This has been talked once. What is the total dollar amount we're talking about with Toller and Granbury?
$17,130.
$17,130 is the countywide deal for all the cities.
You really want to pursue this, Commissioner Andrews, really?
I do, Judge.
This kind of minutia, we can't even run the county without making...
It's important.
I just don't see it. I really don't.
I made that motion, I guess that's...
So each of these contracts has a dollar amount in it. So what you're saying is you want to modify the contract to say $500, unless the contract is already less than $500, you want to leave it where it is?
Yeah, Stockton Ben.
And the $500 is to cover the local rabies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We would provide the local rabies control authority through the interlocal agreement with the cities.
Which that, as we discussed last time, when this came up, that's a additional elevated service that we're...
Well, it is something that the city is required by state law to have.
Okay.
So in order to provide that service, the county has to be fairly compensated.
Okay. Because if the county didn't do it, the city would have to create that, and it would cost them more than $500 to do that. Okay, I get it. I'll second that.
I don't understand the motion. I think that we need to go ahead and get the contracts. You're asking me to sign something based upon this. I think you need to go ahead and write it in the contract, don't you, Mr. Mills? It's not any dollar amounts in here, so let's go ahead and table it again for a third setting on here.
You could line it out. You could line it out and change it if you'd like we did the one earlier.
Well, so the only, as I understand, the only thing you're lining out is just that $1 figure in each contract, right?
Here, let me give you the contracts. You go ahead and line them out.
We're going to change 10,000, like I'm looking at the city of Granbury. It's up on the board. it shows that the city agrees to pay Hood County $10,830. We're supposed to put something else in there?
Yep.
What?
Yeah, with the city of Granbury, it would be the $500 for the local rabies control authority.
Including,
and then
plus the
$840
$10,830?
No, just 500.
in place of. And then the $840 for disposal.
So just
So you're
follow back up the money.
backdooring the, okay, so I see what you, okay, I get it.
So we're a shortfall from $10,000 to $500?
Yes.
This
Where do we
is,
get
For
the
the-
short-
for
where do we
the-
get the shortfall?
For the purpose of, we're double taxing the people that live
yes, that's
inside
what,
the city limits.
that's what we talked about last court, that this is a double tax. So the
But
people
the
that
county
live,
has got to maintain an animal control center. We got to have that.
we do.
Everybody's got to maintain it. You got to have the rabies control here. Everybody's got to have this.
Their budget's not changing.
You know,
Their budget's not changing, it's not being reduced. Animal
this is
control has the
just
same budget as they did.
micromanaging. This is ridiculous.
Actually,
in
you
my
have an
opinion.
increased budget this year over last year's budget.
The thing I suggested to Kevin when we exchanged emails that would make, when Kelly can correct me if I'm wrong, but we could essentially just drop the notion of interlocals entirely and just say we provide animal control for Hood County, period, whether you're in Toller, Granbury, Decordova, et cetera. Then you don't have to have the interlocal, because the interlocal is what triggers, it's in the government code 791, it says to be fairly compensated for services in an interlocal. Now, I mean, you can correct me if that's wrong. I mean, to me, the cleanest, simplest thing that would still be part of your platform or whatever would be just scrap the interlocals, treat everybody exactly the same. Is that doable, Kelly, or we'd still have to have something on the rabies?
We would need to have something on the rabies.
Okay.
For the code, the 791. So we would have to write something for the LRCA, providing that they can use it. Because it's a contract.
But why, I guess, why do you have to have a contract, period? Couldn't you just say all of Hood County, regardless of whether you're in the city or not, is covered by animal control and local rabies? Is that doable in your view?
Get to the mic, would you?
Yes, okay, so I would think that you would need an interlocal contract for the LRCA because the city needs to have the LRCA appointed. And if they are using the county-appointed LRCA, the county is providing a service for the city that is required. So under the Chapter 791, you must.
Well, I mean, could we just vote to designate, to me, you could just vote to designate Hood County as local rabies authority for all of Hood County, period, I think, right?
Then the city would have to appoint it on their side.
Okay. Well, they all will, right?
Have they not already done that? We've been providing that service.
We've been providing that service under this contract, but
I think it's the fair compensation part that comes into question. Do we, do we have to be fairly compensated for something that they are required by law to have?
Well,
I think that's what
the government code 791, which I emailed you, and I got an opinion from David Brooks about it to follow up, and he says that we should be fairly compensated if we're entering an interlocal. So my way around that to get to your platform would be, what if we don't have an interlocal? What if we just say we do all animal control for Hood County, regardless of whether you're in the city or not in the city? And the cities can vote to affirm that, I guess, but I mean, to me, that would be simple and still get to what your philosophical idea is. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, my position would be either make a motion to just treat everybody exactly the same and not need an interlocal, or approve what's on the agenda in front of you. I think those are the two simplest ways, in my view, but.
You know, here's the thing, folks. City of Granbury, City of Lipan, you need an animal control center. You agree with that? By state law, we got to have it. It's going to cost Lipan and the city of Granbury a lot more than this share here to go out and build their own animal control center and provide the services that we do. It's pretty simple, isn't it? That you've got to have something?
Well, they live in the county, so they have it, because as part of living in the county, they have animal control. And just to clarify, it's because he was talking about the compensation, and I want it to be clear that the animal control budget increased $79, almost $80,000 this year, which is an 18% increase, which we're happy to do to provide another animal control officer and other increases in the budget. So this isn't taking away from her budget. I just want to be sure that that's clear.
And I think that it's just, without going extensively into this, it's the citizens inside the city limits are still paying county taxes. We have to have animal control. I don't think that we do anything different inside the cities than we do out in the rest of the county. So to that point, yeah, I mean, the only thing would be, on the interlocal, and I'm fine with waiving the whole thing, but if we have to have an interlocal because they have to have, it's specified in code that they have to have the local rabies control authority, then that would require us to be fairly compensated for that. That's why I came up with the $500 on that.
Okay. Do what you want to do. I mean, you can scrap, I think you can still scrap the interlocal idea if you want it to really be hardcore and just, we are local rabies control and animal control services in the county, or you could do what we have on the agenda, or I guess you could just lower those amounts, which is the original motion, I think. So, I mean,
right.
Let's just get on with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so I guess I'll just stick with that motion then. The $500 to the interlocal for the rabies control authority, $840 for the disposal for Granbury. Because nobody else brings their animals for disposal. It's only
Okay, and then the number for all the smaller, like Stockton Bend, would be less than $500.
Right, that's the one that's on the contract.
I mean, so that's the only thing you're changing in the contract is just those numbers, that's it?
Yep.
The dollar amount.
The dollar amount. I mean, you can do that pretty easy.
So I got one question. We're talking about, if you look at all the entities in this A, B, C, D, E, F, we're looking at 12, 13, about 15 grand totally.
17,130.
17,130. Where does that go? If it's not in your budget, where does it go?
It's a revenue account,
So it's just a straight up revenue?
straight up revenue account.
Okay. You motioned.
Yep.
And I seconded.
Yep.
So are you going to?
You have this down?
Yes.
You got the motion down? Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
So
Now we're really stuck.
Yeah.
Well, I
Because
mean,
we have to have this by
so we
October
entertain
1st,
another
right?
motion?
Yeah, entertain and have another motion.
So a tie is a no-go,
Right, I mean, now we have nothing in place. I mean, I don't know if this is worth anything, but it seems like Jack Wilson's sentiments were more with the two of y'all
But,
a couple weeks ago, but
I mean, you're free to make another
Yeah,
motion.
make a motion to sign them as presented.
Sorry?
You can make a motion to sign them as presented.
Well, we'll get 2 noes and 2 yeses, but I will make that motion. I will move that we authorize county judge to sign the interlocal agreements as presented for Hood County Animal Control and the the city's presented.
I second. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it, 3 to
Got my hill
1.
to die on over here, so.
I wish we could have burned some more time about this, all you department heads out there and police officers. All right. Item number 12, discuss and take appropriate action to approve the request of the district attorney to purchase a new 2024 Chevrolet Malibu and accessories not to exceed $31,500 from Fund 55. There you go.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
I guess this guy here needs something to drive, is that?
He does, yes, sir, yes, sir. And just so the court is aware, the District Attorney's Office has 3 investigators who are not traditional DA investigators. Usually, DA investigators help finish out cases, collect evidence, things like that. But the DA investigators in our office are full-fledged law enforcement officers conducting their own law enforcement investigations. There is an arrangement with the agencies for law enforcement in Hood County whereby every crime involving a child victim who is the victim of a sex offense is investigated by our office. And Dan Bradshaw, Katie Barton, and Pete Wilkerson are the investigators who perform those investigations. Mr. Bradshaw has been driving a car that was loaned to us by the Sheriff's Office a while ago. It's a Chevy Tahoe. That car has had the transmission replaced already. The AC does not work well. He can't share cars with other investigators because they conduct their own investigations and are often in different parts of the county and state conducting those investigations. Also, they gather evidence from labs across the state, transport people for witness meetings, and so reliable transportation is important for every investigator. The 2 other investigators in the office have received new pickup trucks for their investigative activities, but Mr. Bradshaw has been driving the Chevy Tahoe for a while. That's been replaced. I think Commissioner Andrews helped us get a new transmission for that car. But that car really needs to go back to the SO and frankly, probably needs to go out to auction because of its condition. So this is a request to purchase a Chevy Malibu. We're not requesting a Chevy Tahoe, trying to save the county some money. So we're requesting a Chevy Malibu for the purchase price not to exceed $31,500. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Yeah, I appreciate Mr. Bradshaw came and sat and chatted with me about this, and, you know, I appreciate the fact that you're looking out for the taxpayer here and coming up with something, a very economical choice that gets the job done for you. I appreciate that, so.
Any speakers?
Anybody have any questions? Discussion? You did sign up for this, excuse me. Elizabeth Mercer, yes, you're the first speaker, and then Tina, you're the second speaker.
I'm good.
Oh, you're good? Okay.
Well, my question was answered about why he needed the car, but my other question, and I'm going to go with what Ms. Samuelson said for almost a whole year, why wasn't this included in the budget that we just passed last week? Did we not do that? I mean, why wasn't it in his budget? If he needed a new car, when did he decide he needed a new car? The budget's been going on, I mean, why wasn't it just included in the budget?
It was kind of earmarked in capital, you know, instead of putting capital things in each individual budget, there's just a capital fund, and it was, you know.
So it was already talked about and earmarked to come out of that, and we just came today to, because, you know, I know he built into his budget an extra $30,000 for a new auditor. I'm just thinking he could have built this right in there too for,
That
wrong person?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Not his budget.
Okay, yeah, I do have that wrong, but, okay, so how
But
old
this
is,
is-
how
this is
old was this
impact-
car?
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't understand. How old was this car
It's a
we're
new.
replacing?
Oh,
A 2015 car? Okay.
Just to clarify, this is going to come out of the budget that's about to be over on September 30th, not the new budget.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense, too.
yeah,
But-
we've been talking about this for a while, but he's now going to be a full-time going into next year, and he'll need a full-time.
So he's not a full-time employee now?
No.
So I'm getting, I mean, there's just been
On
so much
October
going on
1st.
lately. It's just hard to
Sorry.
keep up sometimes.
Part of the, yeah.
I couldn't hear what you said.
There's just so many things that comes and goings, and it's kind of been complicated the last couple of months, trying to keep straight everybody. So, okay, so, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further question or comments? Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the request of the district attorney to purchase a new 2024 Chevy Malibu and accessories not to exceed $31,500 from Fund 55.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Andrews to purchase a new 2024 Chevrolet Malibu and accessories not to exceed $31,500 from Fund 55, second by County Judge. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Unanimous.
Thank you, Judge.
I wanted to get you a Corvette like you begged me to, but I just didn't say it was in there.
Yeah.
I know you needed it, but,
Or a Tesla or something.
okay, thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right. All right, number 13, consider and take appropriate action to approve the revised 2024 salary matrix for environmental health technicians, setting salaries as of October the 1st, 2023. Becky Kidd.
We move these salaries around so much that the information on environmental health is not quite correct. So I just need to update that, and while I'm doing that, dispatch has an hourly rate, which really can get squirrely, because if you divide the salary by 26, you get one number. If you divide it by 2080 and then multiply it by 2080, it's not going to be the salary. So I want to adjust the dispatch budget, or I'm sorry, the dispatch matrix, to be more in line with what they'll make, or they will be short or over $10. I know that's not a lot, but they will be in here and angry that they're not getting their $10. So for that, if you will just make a motion to update the dispatch and the environmental health matrix, it'll make me happy.
We can only do environmental on this one. That's all that's on the
That's all
agenda.
that's-
Next one's dispatch.
Okay, works for me.
Any further question or discussion? Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to adjust the 2024 salary matrix for environmental health technicians as presented for October 1st, 2023.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to approve the revised 2024 salary matrix for environmental health technicians, setting salaries as of October the 1st, 2023, second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Next item, 14, discuss and take appropriate action regarding the 2023-2024 budget changes to the following departments: dispatch, road and bridge, JP3, fire marshal, and district clerk.
Again, these were some small mistakes. These add up to less than, I think, $8,000. I've already put them in the budget, so I'm just waiting for approval. But again, with all the changes we had, I'm surprised these are the few that are on here. These are getting the correct amounts to these employees, that they are not shorted.
Okay,
And then dispatch was a different
okay,
one.
dispatch is not part of this. then.
Dispatch it's on here, but it was not an error. It is an addition that Mr. Andrews has suggested.
Okay.
Sorry, Commissioner Andrews.
What did he call it?
Oh, mister.
So we're going to need a separate motion for dispatch, is what you're saying?
No, sir, it is on here. These are
Okay.
just mistakes or corrections or additions. And with that being said, and when we do this, I will also adjust the dispatch matrix to be more in line with their actual salaries, if we're all in agreement on that, because again, this is a minor thing.
$8,000.
Yes, let's,
But there is one that I spoke with Judge Barnett about.
That has been corrected, is what
Okay.
we discussed.
Okay, so there's a separation there.
Yes, ma'am.
Take your motion.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve the 23-24 budget changes to the following departments: dispatch, road and bridge, JP3, fire marshal, and district clerk.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to take the appropriate action regarding the 2023-24 budget changes to following departments: dispatch, road and bridge, JP3, fire marshal, and district clerk, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Ms. Kidd.
I have something for the consent agenda. If you will all go to item C, budget amendments, number 16. It says environmental health. Please draw a line through that and make that district clerk.
Oh.
Draw a line through that.
Yes, sir, make it, it is the district clerk's department.
And the district clerk?
Just the
Is the
district.
district clerk, not environmental health.
Oh, so just write district clerk?
Yes, sir. And that's all I have until money.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we're on the consent agenda with the adjustment that have just been made by Ms. Kidd to remove environmental health and put district clerk up here. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I would like to pull the, under Treasurer 5, because I'd like for, it is a lot, $852,000. I'd like Ms. McCoy to explain what that is to the members of the court and public. I mean, go ahead.
The check for this is going to be for capital.
This is a check that was made payable to the county judge?
Yes.
That you wouldn't let me deposit in my personal account?
Unfortunately, no.
Maybe. Let me pull up the information. We actually had this the last few years. I went back and gave Annette the information. It's for the capital credits that comes from the electric co-ops. So apparently, let me pull it up before I start speaking out of turn.
So it's a rebate, basically, correct?
Pretty much, yes.
We receive this every year, and pretty much every year, we place it in capital projects. That just helps keep that fund built up so we can buy, where's Jeff? Buy him some toys.
Yeah, it was just, she gave me the background, and this was quite a bit more than any of the prior year, so.
It just says, as a member of the Central Texas Electric Co-op, when you pay your electric bill, you help to provide the funding to build and maintain the electric distribution system that is used in to deliver electricity to co-op members. As a not-for-profit cooperative, funds not used to pay for wholesale power and other operating expenses are invested in our system. The revenues over and above the cost of doing business are considered margins. These margins are an interest-free loan of operating capital by the membership to the co-op. This capital allows the Texas co-ops to finance operations and constructions with the intent that such capitals will be repaid to you in later years. So last year, we received $636.87. We receipted that into Fund 55. 2021, we received $178,972.76, also receipted into Fund 55. 2020, we received $33,974 even, and also receipted into Fund 55.
It was just.
So it's not expected.
No, it's not expected. It's $852,000, and when you combine that with the $522,000 that we unexpectedly got the refund back from HCAB, that's almost $1.4 million of unexpected revenue. So I just wanted to bring that up and make sure the public was aware of that.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody wish to pull anything, or do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda, changing number 16 to the district clerk instead of environmental health.
Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to approve the consent agenda with the exception of changing number 16 from environmental health to district clerk. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Mr. Lenny, you don't have anything in road ops? Okay. Okay. All right, development. Mr. Head, set a public hearing for the replat of South Bend Addition, lots 9, 21R, and 22R.
Morning, Judge. Morning, Commissioners. Development's accepted application for this replat. It's in Precinct 3, and staff recommends setting the public hearing for the November 14th Commissioners Court.
November the 14th. 2023. Okay. All right. Number B, receive update on the construction plan.
Wait. Judge, I make a motion to set the public hearing for South Bend Addition, lots 1X, 21R, and 22R in Precinct 3 for November 14th.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to set the date of November 14, 2023 for the replat of the South Bend Addition lot, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay. Number B, receive update on the construction plans for the Landings East.
The Landings East construction plans have been approved by the reviewing engineer and staff, and this is done prior to considering the final plat and developer's agreement, just to follow the regulations and have it on record.
No action to be taken?
No.
Okay, good. C, discuss and consider accepting the developer's letter of agreement and approving the final plan of the Landings East.
We have the final plat of Landings East and the developer's agreement to discuss and consider. The property is located on the 503.92 acres of the undeveloped orchards of Palm Plantation in the Water Quality District in Precinct 2. This subdivision is part of the James W. Moore Survey, abstract number 344. These proposed lots will be served by a mud, water, and on-site sewage facilities. The preliminary plat was approved at the July 11, 2023 Commissioners Court. This final plat is proposing to construct 32,735 linear feet of private 6-inch concrete streets and proposes to create 302 final lots. Staff has reviewed the final plat and all comments have been addressed. Staff recommends accepting the developer's agreement and approval of the final plat as presented.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept the developer's letter of agreement and approving the final plat of the Landings East.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Samuelson to accept the developer's letter of agreement and approve the final plan of the Landings East, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. At this time, at 11 minutes after 12, we're going to a public hearing to discuss and consider the replat of Rolling Creek Ranch, Phase 3, Lot 218R1.
This replat is being done to combine lots 218R and 220 into one lot that will be a 3.944 acres lot named 218R1. The Property is located in the rural district in precinct 3 and is served by mud water and on-site sewage facilities. Staff has reviewed the replat. All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approval as presented, if there's no speakers.
Any questions or comment by the public? If not, at 12:12, we will adjourn back into Commissioners Court. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the replat of Rolling Creek Ranch, Phase 3, Lot 218R1.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to approve the replat of the Rolling Creek Ranch, Phase 3, Lot 218R1, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion or comment? All those in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Number E, public hearing to discuss and consider the replat of Sealy Ridge Lot 61R. So at 12:13, we're adjourning into a public hearing.
This replat is the combining of Lot 61 and 62 of Sealy Ridge and will create a 0.965 of an acre lot known as Lot 61R. Property is located in the Water Quality District in Precinct 2 and is served by Aqua Texas Water and Aqua Texas Sewer. Staff has reviewed this replat. All comments have been addressed. The staff recommends approval as presented.
Any questions or comments here in this public hearing? If not, at 12:14, we are adjourning back into Commissioners Court. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. I was I'll make the motion to approve the replat of Sealy Ridge, Lot 61R.
second.
By Commissioner Samuelson to approve the replat of Sealy Ridge Lot 61R, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Next, public hearing to discuss and consider the replat of Finney Acres. At this time at 12:13, we're adjourning into a public hearing.
This replat is a subdividing of Lot 1 at Finney Acres that we recently approved. The subdivision will create two new lots of record known as Lot 1R1 and 1R2. They are both a little over 2 acres in size. None of the lots in the subdivision have been sold yet, and the original dedicator is also the applicant for the replat, so there was no need to mail out letters to everybody in the subdivision. So the property is located in the Road Corridor District in Precinct 4 and is served by private well and on-site sewage facilities. Staff has reviewed this replat. All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approval as presented.
Okay. Any questions or comments? If not, at 12:15, we're adjourning back into Commissioners Court. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, sir. I'll make a motion to approve the replat of Finney Acres, lots 1R-1 and 1R-2 as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Eagles to approve the replat of Finney Acres, lots 1R-1 and 1R-2, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Next one, we adjourn at this time at 12:16 into a public hearing to discuss and consider the replat of Triangle Acres.
This replat is a subdividing of Lot 2 of Triangle Acres. The subdivision will create two new lots of record known as Lot 2R1 and 2R2. They are both 2 acres in size. As required by statute, notice of the subdividing of this lot was mailed out to every lot owner in the subdivision, and the certificate of mailing is in the file. There was one response regarding the location of the property owner responding OSF system. She was informed that the outside boundary of the property is not changing and her system will be the same distance from the property line as if it wasn't being subdivided. There were no other responses by anyone knowing of any legal reason that this lot could not be subdivided. The property is located in the Road Corridor District in Precinct 3 and is served by a well and on-site sewage facilities. Staff has reviewed the replat. All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approval as presented.
Questions or comments in this public hearing? If not, we'll adjourn back at 12:17.
Could be three.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
12:17 into Commissioners Court. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion, Judge. Motion to approve, based on the testimony of Mr. Development, motion to approve the replat of Triangle Acres, lots 2R-1 and 2R-2 in Precinct 3.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to approve the replat of Triangle Acres lots 2R-1 and 2R-2, second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion or comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Head. Financial, Rebecca Kidd.
My dad called me when you wanted to go with Rebecca.
What I mean. Be quick.
Rebecca Leah, that was a frightening word. For today's court, your expenditures are $1,036,118.95. We've reviewed all these invoices. We have also provided a list of payments over $10,000. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Any comments? Any corrections? Amendments? If not, do I hear a motion to pay the bills?
Yes, motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,036,118.95, as presented.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to pay the bills in an amount of $1,036,118.95, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion or comment? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Next.
Monthly reports. These are the monthly reports we have received and reviewed. We do have every one of them, but the ones not listed came in late.
Okay.
So they'll be on next.
They should be on the next agenda unless there's issues.
Okay. Your motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the financial reports as presented by the auditor under Local Government Code 114.01.
Second.
A motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to accept the financial reports for all of the ones that have sent them in as stated. Second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. You may go in peace, my dear. This adjourns the meeting at 12:20.